and how lovely it is to see her after a 3-week absence. Hello, baby. Hello, little girl. Oh, shame. You're looking a little hungry, my girl. Hold on a minute, everybody. I'm just going to get us into a nice position so that all 3 vehicles can squeeze in and their guests can all have a chance to see her. Hello, little girl. There we go. Hi, Shungi. Oh, okay, everybody wants to come around this way. Fair enough, I suppose. The sun is going to be beautiful. And there we have it. Little Xongile. I knew those tracks were very, very fresh, but I didn't realize she was going to have walked so far. So for all of you that are joining us for the first time, Xongile is, as I said, 14 months old. And the camera's about to shake, and that's not Craig's fault. It's mine. Sorry, I just had my foot on the brake. Just take it off. And for the first time in her life, properly, she's found herself all on her own. I've heard she's been separated from Hasana for a while, and her mom hasn't been back to her for quite a while as well. And I have to say that she's looking very, very hungry. Oh, little girl. It's okay. Shame, baby. Your first time experiencing this. Hello, girl. You can see how incredibly comfortable she is, walking right behind Craig. And there she goes, popping out on the other side. Sure, she looks so tiny to be all on her own. It's a tough life for a young leopard at this age. She's not yet ready to be independent from her mum, but it is about the right age for a female leopard with cubs to start coming back into estrus once again. We've already seen Karula mating with Tingana weeks ago, and I think that's probably, I'm guessing that's what's happened now. But it does happen. Sometimes they lose each other. I'm just going to let Tax go ahead. Go ahead, Tax. Go for it. But it does happen that they lose each other. And I've seen Xongile get lost before, and that's why she's patrolling all of these areas, the treehouse dam route, all the way to the Mawati. This is an area that she knows so well and has spent so much time with her mum here, that I think she's just searching for them in all the familiar places that she knows. But she's also, look, she is perfectly capable at this stage, I would say, of surviving for quite an extended period without her mum, just because she can hunt. Now, Liesel, you want to know when Xongile will start mating. Around about, sorry everybody, we just have to, we're all taking our turns. We've been allowed to go ahead. We're going to let them go ahead for a bit. Oh, I might be able to squeeze a view for you. I might, if I stop here. Liesel, sorry, you want to know when Xongile will start mating. Around about 2. Obviously, every individual is different, but that's the point at which they start to have their first estrus cycles. The first ones, okay, the first ones are usually false estruses, so they generally don't result in a pregnancy straight away. It's the same as we've seen with the Nkuhuma female, the youngest lioness. It's just the sort of their bodies getting into that, or preparing for that role. And it's a whole new big step. So we've still got another, I would say probably even a year before Xongile starts to think about mating. And then of course she'll be fully independent. That's one of the signs that she's become completely and fully independent and away from her mum. Oh, dearie me. Sorry everybody. Got to do some squeezing. Now Mohammed, can you see her there, Craig? Through the gap? No. Sorry. Mohammed, you want to know if she's considered an adult? No. She's still, I guess you could call her a sub-adult. I still think of her as a cub, but that's because we've sort of watched them grow up. So she's not quite an adult yet. She'll only be an adult once she reaches sexual maturity and once she starts mating and has established herself a territory. She's still, at 14 months old, she's still completely dependent upon her mum. She can survive for a little bit longer. She's old enough to hunt for herself, but she's not yet ready to leave her mother's company completely, which is why she's looking a little skittish and a little skinny. And Gremlins General, what a fantastic name. Good afternoon to you. Gremlins General, you want to know how long can she survive without eating exactly? She's tiny, so she probably has less resources to draw upon. I would say without eating anything. What is she doing? Sorry, I'm seesawing backwards and oh, she's moving again. We'll just have to wait our turn, everybody. Sorry. It's just playing leapfrog until we get a chance to see her properly. Oh, she's going to lie down in the road. Okay. In that case, shall we risk a flat tire? Oh no, hold on. Orbs is going to move for us. 3 weeks, give or take, without eating anything. But she is eating. She will be eating. She'll be catching herself small things. We've seen Vitomi eat tortoises to survive. So she will be eating. Sorry, I'm just moving, waiting for Tax to see if he wants to move. No, he doesn't. Okay. Oh, he does. Confusion. Okay, let's go. Quickly, snatch an opportunity. There we go. There we go. There's a beautiful girl. So she is eating. She'll be eating things like scrub hares, tortoises, terrapins, any insects as well, although it's a pity that there's no sort of emerging termites that she could feed off, because that's often quite a useful food source. Go ahead, Tax. I'm just going to let Tax go in front. Alright, we're going to go catch up. We're going to see whether or not Xongile gets herself into a nice, good position. While we do that, I think it's time to send you back over to Brent to find out where he is and what he's up to. Alright, so we've made it all the way to Chile Pan with Xongile, who is on a mission. And as you can see, Chile Pan is not uninhabited. In fact, there are 3 massive buffalo bulls. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to get us a bit closer quickly, because if something does happen, it might happen relatively fast. It's very common to see young leopards stalk things like buffalo, even though there's absolutely no way. Here she goes, look, she's watching them. There's absolutely no way on earth that she would be able to take on an adult male buffalo. I mean, she probably weighs 30 kilograms, less at the moment, which is just over 60 pounds. A big buffalo bull can weigh just under a ton. So she's definitely not doing it for feeding purposes, but she will be doing it just to practice her skills, to learn different techniques, to experience the way in which the world works. And I know that Brent's told the story many times of, I think it was Kunuma, it must have been Kunuma, it sounds like something Kunuma would have done, climbing down a tree and smacking a buffalo on the bottom with his paw, and then being chased up a tree by the buffalo. I've seen Sandile stalk them. We've seen Hosano, her brother, stalk elephants before. Again, obviously there's not a chance that they would ever have any chance of actually killing one. Bless you, Craig. Shame I could see Craig working so hard to try and hold that one back. When you gotta sneeze, you gotta sneeze. Hey, girl. Alright, I don't think she is actually going to stalk these buffalo, so I think that gives us the opportunity to get a little bit closer. Oh, sorry. Hat in the way. Now, I'm not sure if it's Ni or me, and I do apologize if I'm getting your name wrong. And you want to know whether or not Gorilla will still feed the cubs while she's mating? No. Generally what happens, and I mean that's one of the reasons I'm going to try and get the buffalo as well. Can you see both there, Craig? Should be able to. That's one of the reasons why we actually believe that Shadow has a slightly lower success rate, or a very low success rate when it comes to raising cubs. That's my theory anyway. I suspect that it's, apart from the fact that she's on the sort of boundary of several different male territories, I think it's because she comes into estrus earlier. And when a female leopard comes into estrus or are ready to mate, they will follow the male around for 5 to 7 days. And they will essentially spend all of their time with that male. So they might eat, they might feed, but she won't stop and go back and fetch the cubs. It just doesn't happen. I think she actually might be a bit thirsty as well. She's been walking far from when Tristan saw her. When was she seen? Yesterday or the day before? Oh, she's seen something she wants. It was yesterday, so she's been walking all day in the heat of the afternoon. Sorry, I just don't want to move until I've established which way she wants to go. She's, I think, listening to alarm calls, and I think she's hoping it's her mum. Shame, girl. She's trying desperately to find Karula. She doesn't really want to call too much because she doesn't want to make too much of a noise and draw attention to herself. If she goes in there, we are going to seriously struggle. Oh, she's going in there. Oh, Xongile. Ooh, watch out there, Craig. Now, Miss Katie, you want to know if Xongile and Karula could share the same territory? No. They might... Okay. Okay, copy. I think I'm going to try... I'll see if I can get in here, otherwise I'm going to go in the Mawati. Sorry, everybody. Aubrey thinks he might have heard a contact call. How amazing would that be if we could see the two reunited once again? I don't know, she heard something. Something attracted her attention. I'm going to try and... I don't think we're going to manage... No. Let's try and get in this way. Oh, Miss Katie, sorry, I completely forgot I was answering your question. No, they won't share territory. They will have an overlapping boundary, potentially, in the same way that Karula does with Shadow and Karula does with Tundi. But leopards are by nature completely solitary, and they don't share, females do not share territories, males do not share territories. But it's fluid. So the boundary is fluid. If one is on the far western reaches of their territory, the other might move about in the opposite end of that territory, because there's nobody calling, there's nobody scent marking. Sorry guys, I have to just concentrate and try and find her. While we attempt to relocate mysterious Xongile, who's taken us into some very, very difficult area, let's go and see the end product of a buffalo's digestion, I think. The leopard that has chosen the perfect moment to completely vanish. Promise you there is a leopard there. She's just behind this tree and she's... Oh, there she is. She's popped out. Thank you, girl. She's been almost as mobile as wild dogs this afternoon. Okay, not quite, that's a slight exaggeration. But she has been constantly moving, and you can see now as she's walking away from us that she could use a few square meals, to put it lightly. She really could use something to eat. She's very, very hungry. And you can see that she's been without Mum for quite a long time, judging by the condition that she's in. I'm not worried yet. I think she's going to be absolutely fine. She's proved time and time again that she can hunt for herself, so she'll be okay. But it is always a bit distressing to see a leopard cub that we've become, or any animal, but particularly when we've watched these cubs grow up, it's quite distressing to see her looking so hungry. Just let go. Aubrey, go ahead. And you can also see, those of you who've been watching, you'll be familiar with the places that we've been going to. From Treehouse Dam now into the Mawati drainage. These are all places where we've had so many sightings of these leopard cubs in the past. And it's because she's searching all the sort of familiar areas. There she goes. I wonder if she's going to go up Battalier Road. And what she seems to be doing is actually walking from pan to pan. And I don't know if that's because, in other words, from water source to water source. I don't know if that's because she is just going to sort of familiar landmarks, or if she's actually actively associating water with food potential, which would make complete sense. She certainly would be bright enough to have made that connection. And perhaps even terrapins that she might like to eat. That was unfortunate. Forgotten how to drive, apparently, in my 3-week holiday. Uh-oh. hubs need to be locked. Sorry, everybody. The vehicles in front of us just needs to lock the locks on their hubs to make sure they don't get stuck. So we'll wait patiently. We, of course, don't have that problem. And our car's much smaller and much shorter, which makes it a lot more difficult to get it stuck. Possible. We've all done it, but not as likely. Oh, and the sand is very thick. There we go. So while I remember how to drive and regain some of the skills that apparently I have forgotten, it seems as though Tristan is having a day to be truly fascinated by the products of animals' digestion. Let's go and have a look at some more poop. Goodness gracious, great balls of dung that Tristan has been playing with this afternoon. In the meantime, we are still with Xongile, but before we do, for those of you that have just joined us, my name is Jamie. This afternoon, Craig is bringing you these incredible images, and we're sitting with a beautiful young leopard known as Xongile. I'm actually sorry, Craig, I know she's sat down so beautifully for us. I'm actually going to reposition so that the vehicles behind us can get a view as well. At the moment, I am... Oh, Xongile, this is the worst possible spot. I'm blocking everybody else's view. But let me just do this for now, and then at least one vehicle can come and see her. There we go. So she's settled down. She's been spotted by a troop of vervet monkeys, and they are calling their alarm call across. It's carrying far. They're all around her. And I think that's one of the reasons why she's trying to find herself a slightly more hidden spot. Okay, admittedly she's now lying in the middle of the road, but she is at least shielded on every side by thick trees. And I think she's trying to just hide away from the monkeys so that they'll forget about her. And of course, her cover's blown completely if she did want to hunt anything. Oh, that was such a sigh. Deep and heavy one. There we go. So finally, Xongile seems to have settled for now, resting and doing what leopards should be doing, not that they ever do at this time of day, which is taking it easy in the shade and having a jolly good clean. No matter how scared and alone she may feel, it would not do to neglect her ablutions. Licking the side of her paw and then rubbing her face with it, just like for those of you with house cats at home, with pet cats, you'll have seen your cat do exactly the same thing. And sometimes it's almost uncanny, some of the things that you see in these big cats that little cats do as well. Cleaning right behind her ears. Hey Jamie, nice name. Jamie, on the subject of names, you want to know how it was that Xongile and Hosana got their names. Now, we actually named them early, and typically leopard cubs are only named after a year old, but because what's tended to happen is that the leopard cubs get nicknames and then it becomes confused with their official name and it just gets confusing for everybody. We knew that these leopard cubs would end up getting nicknames, so we requested of the guides that we start the naming process a little bit earlier than we might otherwise have, which is the same thing that we've done with Tundi's cub. And the way in which we named these particular cubs was to put forward suggestions that were then voted on at a rangers meeting. So a rangers meeting is where all the guides of the various lodges of the areas come together and discuss various niggles or ways to improve things or improve their guiding and so on, our guiding. And the different lodges put forward their suggestions. The suggestions for their names actually came from the Djuma guides, so from Taxon and Aubrey. They were the ones that put forward Xongile and Hosana. And those were the names that were chosen for them at the rangers meeting. Sometimes different places work differently. And generally, there is an accepted norm, it doesn't always work like this, that if the leopards spend most of their time on your property, your names are probably inevitably going to be the ones that are chosen just because you know the animal better. So for us, Xongile and Hosana, obviously we've spent a huge amount of time with them, whereas with for example, with Shadow's cubs. She spends a lot of time on Arathusa. She can pop out right there. Let me duck out of the way. I'm not ducking, by the way. This often causes confusion. I'm not ducking because I don't want her to see me. I'm ducking because otherwise my big head gets in the way of the camera. But the reason I'm explaining that is we've had a few questions before. So you might see the legs of one of the trackers. That is one of the other lodges here, and that is Fanuti, who is watching as the leopard walks past him. And we're just going to have to sit here patiently and wait for her to move. If she keeps moving into this very dense bush, I might leave her to go on her way. I don't mind so much following her now while she's on the road, but bashing after her now, when she's desperately searching for any sign of her mum, I don't think would be... Let's see how thick the vegetation gets. Now, Leslie, I'm sorry, I should definitely have answered that question first. Leslie, you want to know what their names mean. Xongile means the beautiful one, and Hosana means the little chief. Hosa means chief, Hosana, little chief, which I think is adorable. She's still there. She's stopped for now. Are you off? Cheers, guys. So, Xongile, beautiful, Hosana, little chief. I love Hosana's name. I mean, obviously I love our leopards equally, but Hosana's name, to me, really fits him perfectly. He's just got that look about him. Oh boy. It's just, oh goodness. Now, speaking of Hosana, who is, for those of you that have or are new to these live safaris, perhaps you've just joined and started watching, Hosana is Xongile's brother. As to where Xongile's gone, I think she's already ducked ahead of us. So obviously he's the same age, he's a litter mate, and you want to know whether or not he has been seen recently, and the answer is, I'm not sure. I think he was seen on Hoffman's about 2 weeks ago. I saw some pictures from various guests. Alright, let's just see if she goes onto this termite mound. If she doesn't pop out here, then I think we're going to leave her. And we'll see if we can meet her on the road again. Where did she go, Craig? In this long grass.